Joining me right now is Rich Burgess from Connecticut Carry. Rich contacted us and said, hey, I want to correct some misinformation that's out there. Hey, Rich, how you doing?
Hi, Tom. How are you doing?
I am great. I have gotten this email, as have probably millions of other people, saying that they're confiscating guns in Connecticut. Not true?
I would say no. As a matter of principle, I think that's not true. I think a lot of people have gotten this thing very, very confused. And the media's put it out there that this is confiscation and that this is a letter that's been sent out to everybody. But when you look at the reality of it, we have not seen any letter sent out to anybody in the state of Connecticut. And even when you look at the letter that they're, prescribing to be sent out to people, these letters are not confiscation. What they are is stating what the law was come 4/4/2013. These rules that they prescribed said that you had to either to give up the information to the state police or to the FFL or to any other person. But they did not say that we're going to batter down your door. Now, we're not saying that the Connecticut State Police won't do that. We certainly actually believe that they will and possibly are planning to do that. However, there needs to be some kind of reason in the national discourse of let's try not to promote a civil war in Connecticut by saying that we are going to, be subjects to confiscation right now.
So explain to people, kind of give everybody the cliff notes of what happened in Connecticut with your law, and specifically last year and then January 1.
Well, in January 1st, we had a registration deadline, I would say, that if you had what was termed an assault weapon, which, is very specific to Connecticut law, of course, at that point you had to register your firearms, and this includes large capacity magazines as defined by Connecticut law, of course. Mm-hmm. And these firearms and magazines had to be declared to the Connecticut State Police. Now, as reported in many of the journals out there and many of the media sources out there, this has not taken place. Now, we don't know, and I don't think anybody can know, how much of this is due to civil disobedience or how much of this is due to just ignorance.
But one number I heard was, I heard that something on the order of 80% of the people with these firearms have not registered them. Are you getting any kind of numbers?
I think all numbers right now are extremely skewed to nothingness. The numbers that we have, the Connecticut State Police have terrible, terrible, terrible records. And that's, we as one of the only hosts of those numbers, I don't think any of the numbers can be quite, sanctified as any kind of good number right now.
Okay.
But I think what people need to remember is that these numbers don't mean anything, but yes, of course, many residents will not comply or have not complied. But I think we need to sit back and realize that this is not a good thing or a bad thing. People didn't comply or they didn't comply because they were ignorant. Neither of those good things are good things. It's a lot of victims out there of the state violence that is about to ensue.
What is what's the punishment? What's the what are you guilty of if you didn't register your gun the way you were supposed to?
In most cases, and obviously there are very specific cases, but in most cases it will be a felony.
It will be a felony for not registering your gun. And then there were some people who sent in the registration but missed the deadline, so they have essentially self-reported themselves as breaking the law.
Exactly. And that's what we're really trying to push out there is the media attention that went on to these letters was in response to people who registered but did not meet the deadline. And to those people, they swore to the state through sworn affidavits that they were criminals. And I don't know how better to express this to people. I don't believe that they were criminals, obviously. You don't believe they were criminals. They merely possessed firearms to protect themselves.
But they
However,
said,
when you look at the facts, the state indicated that
Right.
Here is what you need to have an assault weapon, and here is what you had, and they swore to it.
All right, so let me ask you this, Rich. You've got thousands or tens of thousands of people who own firearms that are not registered, that are required to be registered. What do we do now?
Well, that's where Connecticut Carry comes in. We want to try to protect the people who did not register. We want to protect the people who had nothing at that time but want to get new firearms. We want to protect all of the people who want to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state, which is what Connecticut's Constitution articulates. And so for us, the whole idea goes wide and beyond just this concept of, will the state send out letters?
All right, where is the harm? Because you specifically said, look, there's real harm here, and everybody getting all worked up and promoting this deal that there's confiscation going on in Connecticut. Express to everybody what the harm is, and people saying that when it's not true.
Right. It's traumatic. We have the state police who are pitted against the civilians, and right now the state police have not sent out any letters. It's just a falsehood that any journalism has gone on that says that these letters have gone out. So the state police have not sent out any letters, and yet people are trying to anticipate whether there's going to be a civil war here in Connecticut. And people need to relax and realize that, first of all the media sources that have said this are false. Okay? And then the second thing is, Connecticut stands ready to deal with these issues as they come up. I'm sure patriots and our members and other members and people in the public in general are willing to deal with these things as they come up, and as the Connecticut Carry is not a sponsor of the Connecticut State Police, we have to be fair in the fact that they have not released any letters to say that they have confiscated anything.
Right. All right, well, look, that's what I was looking for, is we don't have the information that they're issuing letters to confiscate. As you say, no guarantees that that's not what they're planning. And I appreciate you coming on. I wanted people to hear this because people say, they wouldn't possibly confiscate guns in the U.S. Oh, yeah, they already have, and they may be thinking about doing that there. It does do us a disservice. It actually can do us harm if we react to something that's not happened, because then they can come back and say, that's not happening. You guys are crazy. And then we get marginalized again with the decision makers and with the media. So you have to be careful about that. Rich, appreciate that. Keep us posted on what's going on out there. 866-TALK-GUN. What's your choice for your personal